Community Board 3. Community Board 3 covers the neighborhood of Bedford-Stuyvesant. The borders of Bedford-Stuyvesant are: to the north is Flushing Avenue, to the south is Atlantic Avenue, west is Classen Avenue, the northeast end is Broadway, the southeast end is Saratoga Avenue. So that encompasses, CB3 covers one neighborhood, and that's Bedford-Stuyvesant. 3 responsibilities of the community board. 1, we deal with all housing and land use issues, development on city land. I'm gonna repeat that one. All housing issues, development on city-owned land.
Sorry, y'all.
No problem.
Hey.
Please come back.
I'm sorry?
If you're on the block, come.
Tell Chris? Okay.
Yeah.
And the reason I mentioned city-owned land, because there's a lot of development happening, and people want to know, well, why is this development happening? And the community's not knowing about it, it's not coming before the community board, because that is private development. Those who are homeowners right now. If you wanted to build 2 more stories on your house, which you can do legally according to the zoning, you don't have to come to the community board and tell us that. All you got to do is get your permission from the Department of Buildings, and the Department of Buildings are the ones who monitor that. So that's private development. The only time private development comes before the community board if the developer is asking, making a request from the city, for example, a rezoning request. They may want to do that. So I'm going to step back so I can take this off. If they want to do a rezoning request, what I mean by rezoning, if the land is in an area that's zoned for manufacturing, and then the developer wants to do housing and have manufacturing area zone, they would have to make a request to city planning to do a rezoning so he can build housing in an area that's zoned for manufacturing. That then comes before the community board because the private developer is making a request to the city to make a change. So that private development would come before the community board. So second responsibility, we deal with budget requests. Every community board, and there are 58 community boards, every community board makes budget requests to the city, to the Office of Management and Budget, OMB. Now, that does not mean everything we request that we're going to get, because we're going against 57 other community boards. So one of the requests we made, which is close to you guys, is Von King Park and the cultural building, which has been taking forever to get done. The update on that, well, let me back up. What initially happened, they picked the contractor. The contractor they picked could not do the job, so they had to start the whole contract process over again, and that took an additional year. Then what happened, they picked another contractor finally after it goes through the process. The contractor starts doing the work that they say they contract them to do some electrical work or whatever. As the contractor's going inside the building, digging and breaking stuff up, they notice things like asbestos, mold, all sorts of other additional problems with the building. The contract doesn't say that for the contractor to deal with asbestos and mold. Now they have to stop, go find another contractor to deal with the asbestos and everything. So, long story short, personally, I think the building should have been knocked down. And it should have been built from the ground up. Because it's an old building and has a lot of issues. As they keep digging more and more into that building, they're finding more and more problems. Then they got to start the whole process over again to get another contractor. Anybody who knows how the city works, when it comes to dealing with contractors, putting a bid out, you have to put the bid out. That takes several months. You have to see which contractor is the best. And unfortunately, the city, they may not even go with the best contractor, they go with the cheapest contractor. And a lot of times you get the cheapest contractor, if they're not the best contractor, then more problems build up. So that's been part of the major delay with the cultural building over there. Now they're in the process of doing the work on the inside, but it is about 2 years behind schedule. So a budget request that happened that was successful was the elevators at the Utica Avenue train station that came through the community board, and the total reconstruction of Nostrand Avenue thoroughfare, the streets. And if those remember how the streets were on Nostrand Avenue with the trolley tracks and the potholes and everything, that it got totally redone, that came through the community board. The third responsibility, complaints. We deal with complaints from the residents. It's our job and my staff to answer the complaints. So if there's a pothole on your block, if the street light is out, if the park isn't clean, if your trash wasn't picked up, any complaint pertaining to any city agency goes to the community board. The steps are you call 311 first. And after you call 311, then you reach out to my office. Then my office will take that complaint and we will reach out to our liaison. We have a liaison for every city agency. If you just call 311 and leave it at that, your complaint will probably get lost in the system. And then you'll put another 301 complaint in 30 days later, and it's going to get lost in the system again. And then it's going to say your complaint has been resolved, even though you know it has not been resolved. I'm sure that's happened to a few of you. So you must 311 first, and then call the community board office. Email or call us. You do not have to ask for Mr. Butler. I have a staff. The staff takes care of the complaints. Because everybody asks for me, then I got 50,000 complaints I'm trying to handle. So my staff takes care of the complaints. That's who you ask for. So that's just a quick version of the community boards. Other facts about community boards, they are made up of 50 volunteers. The 50 volunteers are put on the board by the borough president's office and your local council members. The borough president gets 25 picks, then the other 25 are divided up between the council members that cover this area. Councilmember Carnegie has the most of Bedford-Stuyvesant, so he gets 19 picks. Councilmember Laurie Cumbo has a couple of blocks on the west end. She gets 1 pick. Councilmember Lika Samuel has the eastern end of the district. She gets 3 picks. And Councilmember Levin has the northwest portion of the district. He gets 2 picks. So the majority of picks go to Councilmember Carnegie. But the borough president, we're under the purview of the borough president's office. The borough president makes the final selection. So all community boards are under the borough president's office. So that's the quick version about community boards. Oh, one more thing. Every community board has different committees. The work is done on the committee level. All meetings are open to the public. Anyone here can go to any community board meeting. There is no such thing as a closed community board meeting. That's against the law. It's against the state law. There's an open meeting law. It's against the law. The only meeting that's closed to the public is if it's dealing with personnel issues. So we have Parks, Arts, Culture Committee. You can attend that committee. Economic Development, Housing and Land Use, Transportation Committee. Anything that the city agency is going to do in Bedford-Stuyvesant comes through the committee.
Schools.
That allows the residents an opportunity to have had their voices heard as to how they want to see this project. If it's a project, say it's a street project, or repaving, or development that's taking place. We have 2 major development projects that are taking place. Or anything, parks reconstruction. It's starting at the committee level first. It will get sent to me. I will then send it to the chair of the board, and then we will send it to our committee chairs. And then we'll have a meeting. The agencies will come at the meeting. Sometimes you get the borough commission, you may even get the city commission for that particular agency. And that is your opportunity to sit there and have your say-so on anything that the city is looking to do in the Bedford-Stuyvesant community. So I tell people all the time, the work is done at the committee level, not at the board meeting. By the time it gets to the board meeting, we're having a public hearing, it's already been vetted. And now we're just presenting it to the public, and then we're going to vote on it. If you want to have your say-so before the public hearing, where you actually at the beginning of the process, you're supposed to attend those committee meetings. That's where the action is at. And it's open to the public. You can become a voting member as a public. You don't have to be a board member to vote. We have the 50 members, but the public, you come to the committee meetings, it will allow you the opportunity to vote on projects. But we do take the attendance of the public. You have to follow the same attendance rules as the board members. If you're not consistently coming, you don't get the power to vote. And that's because we want to prevent particular groups from bum rushing a meeting on one particular topic and try to, bum rush a meeting and have like 50 people show up to vote a particular way. You have to attend these. You have to be a member of that committee to have voting privileges. Those are rules that we put in to really protect the interests of the community. So I'm gonna stop right there on community board stuff. And if there are any questions, I will take questions at this time.
So could I do? You don't even have to be all you do is show up to these committees, and if you're consistently showing up, then eventually you become a voting member.
Yes.
So you don't have to be a
meetings, you become
How
a
many?
voting member.
How many?
3 consecutive
3.
meetings of a committee, you become a voting member.
Cool.
But then you have to maintain that consistency.
Cool.
You don't have to come every month. And they meet once a month, the same time every month. And you can find all of this on our website, Community Board's website, all this information. And I have cards in my cards. I will give up my cards to everyone before I leave. So yes, anyone can attend a committee meeting and have a say-so on projects that are coming into this district.
I did not know that. Yeah. So
Yes,
any
so
question? Any other?
That's why I go to meetings, because people don't really know the function of a community. But let me just say, I actually started off as a volunteer. I got on the community board in 2006. I was appointed by Councilman Darlene Milley. 2008, I became the chair of the board. I was the chair of the community board 3, and I was the chair for 5 years. And then in 2013, our district manager retired, and then the board members hired me. Like, I had to get vetted along with other candidates. Then the board members, they vote on who they want to be the new district manager, and then I was voted and elected to be the new district manager. So I've been district manager since 2013. So I've been district manager for 7 years. Previously, I was the chair for 5 years, so I've been part of the community board since 2006. I'm also a longtime resident of Bedford-Stuyvesant. I actually grew up not too far from here in the Tompkins houses. Now I reside on Macon, Patchen, and Rob. So yeah, I'm your neighbor. So I have a real interest in the Bedford-Stuyvesant community because I'm raising my family here like the rest, like everyone else is here. So I have an interest on making sure that we get the services that we deserve.
Is there any other question? Because I wanted to ask,
Go ahead.
are they online? See, the community board meetings and the committee meetings are still in person, or
No.
Yeah.
So since March, the office has officially been closed, but all our meetings are virtual now. We meet via WebEx. And what I can do is email, and I can get everybody's email address and email those over. So
I can
all
put
our
it-
committee meetings meet via WebEx. The board meeting meets via, all our meetings are via WebEx now, video. No,
So-
we're not allowed to meet in person as of yet due to the governor's executive order.
So
But the office is open because if you call the office, the phone, it gets transferred automatically to our cell phone. So the office is still functioning. We're just not working out of the office, and we're not meeting in person. But the committees are still functioning, and the board meetings are still happening. We actually have a town hall this Tuesday, 6 p.m. via WebEx, dealing with local law 152. What is that? That's a law that was passed by the city council back in 2016 pertaining to gas inspection, your gas inspection lines. For 3-family homes and above. If you have a 3-family home and above, if your C of O says you're a 3-family, you have to get this gas inspection done.
That affects, yeah, that's the one that our neighbor, Mr. Kevin, was talking about. Yeah.
So if it's 3-family, they have to get it done, or they're subject to a $10,000 fine. from the
Exactly.
city.
So we
So
misinterpreted that.
Right, so
Yeah.
we're having a town hall on that because a lot of people don't know about it. We didn't know about it actually until people were getting, because plumbers were actually sending out notices to residents saying about the law. And the residents started calling the community board office, wondering if it was, if it was a scam. And then we looked into it and we found out, oh, yeah, this is a real law. It was passed in 2016, but now it's in effect now. You have until December 31st, 2020 to get this inspection done. And you have to have a master plumber do it. And then they're charged right now between $600 to $900 for this inspection. We realized that if we didn't know about it, we know most residents don't know about it. So that's why we're having a town hall Tuesday, but we'll have a representative from the Department of Buildings on the call to answer any questions people have. So right now it's for any house that's a 3-family and up has to get this inspection done.
But the certificate of occupancy, it may not be, your house may be acting as a 1-family, but it may say
if your CFO say 3-family and
then
above,
it applies.
it applies. And what we need clarity on, there are some situations where your house could be a 2-family, but Department of Finances may be taxing you as a 3-family.
Exactly.
And we have to find that out. How does that work? Is DOB going by what Department of Finance is saying? Or are they going by what your C of O says? So that's one of the questions that we'll be asking.
So we should attend
Well,
that.
we need to know because I keep getting that coming up.
This is online, so we should
Yes.
attend it. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
this
it's
is
online, so
actually
I'll
a 2-family
have the flyer.
duplex, but I got it as a 3-family.
send Ralph the link and he can
Yeah. Yep.
It's public, but I'll look it up. But also
Because it's a
because our
2-family,
districts have these
as a duplex.
Oh,
but I
Mr.
have it
yeah.
considered as a 3-family.
Say that again.
It's a 2-family as a duplex.
Right.
But I have it considered as a 3-family.
When you say you haven't considered, what do you mean?
The
CFO.
The C of O says 3-family.
I can look yours up,
No,
Miss
it's
Rhonda.
not.
Well, like I said, we're going to answer these questions.
Yeah.
So I think it's about a C of O, but I'm not 100% sure, so don't quote me on that. That's why we're having this town hall. And you're right. We're in the first.
Yeah, we're in
it's
the
in
first
phases.
phase.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're in the first phase.
We're in the first phase.
Yeah.
Which is like
And-
What is in the
much
first
the
phase?
same like yourself. I received a card in the mail
Uh huh.
and I was like, what is this? I checked with a couple other neighbors.
Uh huh.
It didn't apply to.
Right.
But
It applies to you?
unfortunately.
Right.
So I did talk with another neighbor
Uh-huh.
who has a master plumber that, you know, we're trying to work something out.
Right.
We're trying to get a group deal.
Right, get a group, right.
Yeah.
That's a smart thing to do.
Yeah, you know, so if you can come through and kind of do a couple of houses on the block,
Right.
then you get a discount.
Yeah, so I would definitely make sure that he gets it and everybody gets come on
That's something.
on the call Tuesday at 6 o'clock. So that's pertaining to local law 152.
And what happened to the people who never received one?
Say that again?
What happened to the people that never received that notice, such as
So
myself?
it wasn't a notice. What's happening,
Notice.
plumbers.
It applies to everyone.
Plumbers are doing it on. If I own a plumber, I'm a master plumber.
Yes.
I know about this law, so I'm trying to get business. So I'm looking up, going to the Department of Finance or the Department of Building site. I'm looking up for all the 3-family homes in Bed-Stuy,
Yeah.
and I'm going to send you a notice saying, "Hey, this law is about to go into effect. I can come do this inspection for you." These are plumbers doing it, and that's how we found out about it.
That's
Because
exactly
residents
how I
started
found out.
calling the
Yeah.
office about it, and they wanted to know if it was a scam. And then we called the Department of Building. That's when we found no, it is going into effect. The Department of Buildings did not do a good job
No,
of
right.
letting community boards know about it, so we could let the residents know about it. So
And-
now we're trying to catch up.
And I have to say, we researched it and read it, and we misinterpreted it
No,
to say that,
I
oh, you
was
got
like,
it right,
I
but
looked at it
Yeah.
again. know
I got it
you guys-
wrong.
It may not apply to you guys,
Right, but
it's in
it
effect
seems
for
that it may
anyone.
apply to us. No,
Yeah.
3-family and up.
3 and up. Yeah.
3 and up.
But
Yeah.
it
3 and up.
depends on the CFO.
it's mis.
But we gotta find. That's what we're gonna
Exactly.
find out. We're gonna find
Because
out.
at the same tree,
These
one
are
is
questions we
still-
have. These are questions we have to
Okay.
find out from them. So that we will have a specialist from their plumbing unit. Will be on the call Tuesday.
Okay.
So that's one of the things we'll find out.
I thought you said the weekend, but it's Tuesday?
No, it's Tuesday.
Oh, Tuesday.
It's Tuesday.
This Tuesday.
This
Okay.
Tuesday.
Yeah,
This
so
Tuesday at
please.
6 o'clock, 6
Please send
p.m.
that link.
And we're gonna do a second one sometime in November. We can do that one with Councilman Corning in the Department of Buildings again. We're gonna do at least 2 or 3 of these town halls about this, and then we're going to request a delay to push it back because December 31st is too close, and no one knew about this.
Right.
I'm gonna tell you, we didn't even know about it until the residents start calling us. So that's where we are on that.
Do you get notified when these regulations happen?
They're supposed to.
They're
Right. They're supposed to let us, because our job as part of the community board is to disseminate the information to our districts. They didn't notify us on this one. And what it is the law was passed in 2016. But they always give it laws of 2 to 3 years to go into effect. So it's going into effect now. But they didn't notify us until recently. So that's where we are right now. But usually, yes, they're supposed to let community board. We're usually the first ones to know. We'll know sometime before the elected officials would know about if any changes are taking place in the district, because we have the outreach to the residents.
So how do we know if there have been previous regulations that have been enacted that we just still don't know about it? You may not know about it.
You get fines.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah. If something like, for example, what's happening?
You'll know.
That's a good question. So I'm gonna give you an example of notification that did happen. Local law 30. That's with National Grid. That's the one where they were the gas line. They were checking the gas line where they can be able to shut off the gas from the outside. They were making changes to it, and that's been going on for a whole year. And we got that information from National Grid, and then we disseminate the information out to the public with National Grid. Con Ed right now, they're putting in the smart meters.
Right.
And that's something they let us know. We knew this about a year ago about the smart meters, and they told us around what time they would get to Bed-Stuy. So usually we'll get those. They know to come to us. Like, it's in the system. Go to the community board first. Like, for example, I have a monthly meeting with all my agency reps and my liaisons from the elected officials office. So at that monthly meeting, I will usually get updates on what's going on, or they'll just email it over to us. But I do have a monthly meeting where I meet with all my elected official reps, my city agency reps, and the meeting's about resolving issues in the district and then getting updates on everything that's supposed to take place in this district. So I guess I had that meeting this past Thursday. But that's closed. That's just me and my reps and stuff. Now we do it online since we can't meet in person.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Property taxes.
Property tax.
Yes.
Are they going up?
For myself, they charge me $12,000 a year.
Way more, right?
So I don't have an answer when it comes to property tax. That's strictly with the Department of Finance, and that's strictly with the mayor's office on how they go about charging and assessing property taxes. So that's something Now, what I can do is link you to someone from the Department of Finance. I have a liaison there, and then you can discuss that concern with them. But like, we don't have anything to do with the assessment of property taxes. But that's something you should do because, as I stated, sometimes Department of Finance has different information than what Department of Buildings may have. Now, we still have an issue with agencies not communicating with one another. So if you feel that, you know, they may be assessing you unfairly and, you know, not according to what the C of O is stating, then yes, you know, I have a liaison there, then I can link up and then they will reach out to you. That's what I'm saying. That's why I said, like, community boards are supposed to be the voices for the residents, so you don't have to deal with the bureaucracy. I'm not saying we're going to resolve a problem like that, because a lot of times with issues, sometimes it involves several agencies. Quick example, we have a lot of issues sometimes with squatters in abandoned buildings. That happens a lot in the district. Building gets abandoned, somehow squatters know the building is abandoned, and they wind up in there. So that is usually going to involve NYPD. Sometimes it involves Department of Environmental Protection, because they may be running the water illegally. National Grid, they may be using gas illegally. Con Ed, because now they're using electricity illegally. And so they have something what we call a march. A march is when all the agencies will hit a spot at one time to resolve the problem. And that's through the Mayor's Special Enforcement Unit. Okay, so a lot of times, you know, we are your liaisons, but that doesn't necessarily mean we're going to resolve the problem right there and then. Some problems resolved easy. The trash didn't get picked by sanitation. That's just a call to the superintendent or at the garage. He will send a truck out to come get it. But like I said, a situation like a squatters in a building, that usually takes a while.
I got a question about bike lanes. Do you guys have any like power to help build bike lanes?
So bike lanes, the community board position on bike lanes is we don't believe in bike lanes going on commercial strips. Because in transportation, when I say transportation, I mean where buses are running and commercial trips, like for example, say a Fulton Street. Yeah. We don't feel that's safe. We feel that's dangerous to have a bike on with the buses, with trucks. There's not enough parking for the trucks to be able to safely park. So a lot of times the trucks, talking about the commercial field, the double parking means a biker now has to go out of the lane. We don't feel like bike lanes should be on commercial strips in transportation locations. That's the community board's policy.
Is that the reason why the one on
Lafayette stops at Classen Avenue? Yes, that is the reason. Because it's safety for everyone. It's safety for the bikers. It's safety for the drivers. It's also safety for the pedestrians who are walking. Bedford-Stuyvesant blocks, like a block like this, it's wide enough where we feel like a bike lane is not necessarily needed on blocks, on our east-west blocks. They're not necessarily needed. The bike lane is wide enough without a bike lane. Now, I know a lot of times if an accident happens, people may feel the bike lane is the answer to the accident. I personally don't necessarily feel that way. I'm gonna give you an example. Ralph Avenue. Ralph Avenue across the street from Brevoort Houses. There's a school right there. If you go to Ralph Avenue now, you see how they have it set up now. That came about because of myself, the school, and Department of Transportation working together to make it a safer thoroughfare. Because there wasn't a light for like 6 blocks. No light, no stop signs, nothing on Ralph from Chauncey all the way to Fulton. So the kids coming out, the crossing guards and the kids, one crossing guard got hit, a couple of kids got hit. DOT didn't want to do anything. Nothing. Somebody got hit by a car on a bike, DOT threw a bike lane down. I said, well, what about the kids who live in Brevoort Houses? 2 of them got hit, and you're not doing anything. So it took the pressure of us, putting the pressure on DOT and with the elected official to get them. So what we created was we moved the parking. They had the back-end parking. We moved the back-end parking to the Chauncey side. We made the straight parallel parking. We put the turn lanes. We made several changes over there to make it safer for the kids on the Ralph Avenue school, and then there's a school on the Patchen Avenue side where we made changes. So you see what we did over there to make it safer for everyone. So DOT has a tendency not to respond, unless it's somebody hit by a bike, which I think is unfair. If we had kids crossing the street, no lights for blocks, as if they didn't care. It was almost an attitude of, well, nobody got killed yet, so we're not gonna make any changes. You know, so we feel like you can make changes within the thoroughfare. It doesn't necessarily always require a bike lane. Sometimes bike lanes actually, I feel, makes it more unsafe, particularly for the bikers, depending on where you put that bike lane.
I would just voice my support for one on Lafayette. I mean, you bike down there, you have a bike lane, and then it ends, and I do it, but I also see other bikers just keep on going, and now you're faced with the problem of 2 lanes, a bus, bikers, but no bike lane.
Okay,
And,
I got it.
and I don't think
The bike
there's any.
lane
I don't
should
think
stop
there's any other
At
east.
Community Board 3.
Yeah,
I don't think there's any other main east-west bike lane. I mean, there's one on DeKalb going
right.
west, but nothing else.
Willoughby. The bike lane on Willoughby
goes.
goes that way.
That is true.
It goes east. And Willoughby is good because Willoughby, less traffic, no buses. For example, I personally wouldn't have put a bike lane on Bedford. I would have put it on Marcy. I think Bedford is a truck thoroughfare. Trucks that are going to the BQE and going to they can't go to Williamsburg, but they're going to the BQE. I personally wouldn't have did it. I would have did Marcy because I'm thinking about the safety of everyone. DOT at one time wanted to put a bike lane in the best I call Flushing Avenue. Flushing Avenue is a skinny 2-way street. Once again, a truck route that they take to get to the BQE.
It's horrible.
So basically, they wanted to put a shared lane there. So I said, okay, so you're gonna have somebody on their bike in a shared lane with a truck behind them biking. That's not safe.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm thinking about the safety of everyone, and I'm also thinking about the movement of traffic and the movement of commercial vehicles and commerce. Like, so I understand what the city's trying to do. They're trying to connect neighborhoods. I just feel they need to do it on streets that are more safe for everyone involved.
Protect the bike lanes.
Just-
And that's all I'll say.
That's a whole nother conversation.
So, just on the bike thing, fair. What about rules to design just like a driver? They have to go through strenuous, to get your license. And here the bike is like just put a stripe down and they can go in, but they're not in the stripe. They're driving in the traffic more than in the bike lane.
There's
It's
no
enforcement of bikers. I mean, that is a conversation that's been happening a lot lately because there's more people biking. I think probably in the next administration, you may see some changes with that. Some people are talking about bikes need to be insured. Because if a biker turn and crack your window, you know to turn. Because they're more. If the more you put out there, the more you increase chances of. If there's going to be accidents, you just want to make it a situation where we know if a car hits a bike, more likely the biker is going to get hurt.
Well, I thought there was a 30-mile-an-hour rule as far as that was too.
But that's for cars.
Well, I thought that any vehicle that moves more than 25, 30 miles an hour is supposed to have some kind of license and insurance thing.
I'm not sure about bikes.
motor. It has to be
People that have
motor.
motors
Yeah.
on them.
Motor.
People
Yeah.
that has a motor on
But
them.
now they have electric bike.
But they got
But-
electric bikes,
So-
so that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah.
Like, is an electric bike supposed to be in a bike lane? I don't think they're supposed to because it has a motor on it.
Believe me, I've been hit by electric bikes and
Right, so-
while I'm biking.
So these are conversations that need to be happening, at the transportation level with the city, with community board. They should be having these conversations now because we got the what do you call the little bikes, the Revel bikes, the little motorbikes, and the delivery. We got a lot of complaints about the delivery bikes. They're on the sidewalks and enforcement. So these are conversations that need to be and conversations that are happening, and they need to come with solutions. And that's what government is supposed to do. Government is supposed to come up with solutions to these problems.
One.
I wanted to.
Oh, go ahead. Go. You go.
I wanted to ask about the rats. I don't know if people have.
That's
already
part of it,
discussed
yes.
that before I came, but
No.
I wanted to say that the bike lane stopping though, where it does, it's like if it's already on Lafayette, why not?
But that's
bring it
community
down?
board
It's like
too.
then when
That's
we come
not-
into our
that-
neighborhood.
that's
I'm just saying,
community-
if you're biking here, home,
Right.
from downtown, it's like as soon as you start to get into that Stuy, it's more dangerous because it's not like a lane.
That's why we tell to bike on Willoughby.
Well, I have a follow-up
That's
question.
why
Will it be?
No,
Out
the
of the way.
related question
that's
is,
the problem.
if
Out of the way mindset in
if-
America is
I just want to follow up. Is
But I want to ask about the rats.
yeah, you go right. But mine is related to what you said. Is on Lafayette, it would be helpful if it said, gave us a good way to get to Willoughby, right? Because it can't. What's kind of troublesome for us is the cars. I never see a car street just stop and and say, okay, now appear someplace else
They do
and continue.
have,
It
Right,
doesn't.
you talk about signage. You talk
Yeah,
about signage.
sign. Yeah, say a best bike lane.
Right, you're talking about signing.
Yeah,
That's something we can look
a
into.
safe way to get to
That's
Willoughby,
something
because
we
I love
can,
Willoughby.
talk to the Department of Transportation about putting up signage. That's
I'm
something we can
I'm
do.
all with you
It's just
with
wide
the
enough.
continue.
Lafayette's wide enough for us all to use it.
Yeah,
I
but
think-
he's saying about commercial, but yeah,
Yeah,
that's another conversation.
So that's
It's one lane, let's go get it two. It seems like.
No, they have there's like a little, I don't know what it is, the white paint.
So let me get to
Some people kind of use
let me get to
it.
a question.
Back to rats.
About,
Yeah.
your
Rats.
question about
Rats.
So in our block, we've been really doing a lot to try to mitigate a rat problem that has just kind of exploded.
So let me
I
speak
wanna
on
know
that.
what's happening beyond
Yes.
just what we're doing on our block.
No, it's no. So before the pandemic hit, Bed-Stuy, CB3, and CB4 Bushwick were deemed rat population district, and that was really based upon the phone call, the 301 phone calls. Not because we have more rats than any other place in the city, because we just happen to make the phone calls to 311. So we were deemed the rat population district, which means with that that label. Department of Health, what they did was we got the special garbage cans. You may see the special garbage cans around the parks, on the commercial strip, the more enclosed ones, and not the little tin-fold ones that are open. We were getting the more inspections done by the Department of Health because of that. I tell people that this is happening several reasons, several factors. The number one factor is construction. A lot of construction. As you build and as you excavate or knock down, once you excavate, you're going into their home because they're on the ground and they're coming up. Now, developers are supposed to do rat mitigation before they excavate. They have to show a plan. See if he's turning or if it's coming down your block. It's turning.
No, turning. Yeah.
So they have to do a rat mitigation plan before they build. And they're supposed to send that to the Department of Buildings before they get permits. They're supposed to send that to the Department of Buildings. So what I tell block associations, if you don't see that developer is doing any rat mitigation, traps or whatever, let us know. The Department of Buildings then will come out and enforce that and make sure they do it. Because they get their permit based upon they submitted a plan on an extermination plan to deal with rats. So the number one problem is we're having a lot of construction taking place in Bedford-Stuyvesant. Two, we got a lot more restaurants and bars. A lot of these restaurants and bars do not dispose of their trash properly. New York City Sanitation does not pick up trash for commercial entities. Those are the private carters. You see those green trucks that are midnight, 1 in the morning coming out? That's who pick up. Every commercial business is supposed to have a private carting license. Even if you was an accountant and you had a little storefront and you're an accountant, the city doesn't pick up your trash. It may just be paper, but the city's not picking it up. You have to get a private carting. So what a lot of smaller businesses will do, they'll team up together and just get on one contract. But for restaurants, they're supposed to have a private carter that comes, carting business, that come and pick up their trash. A lot of them are not doing it. So what we did like inspections of our commercial entities. We did Fulton, we did Malcolm X. Those are the main two that we did. We did Fulton and Malcolm X. And you would know if they have it, there's supposed to be like a sticker in the window. And on the sticker, it'll say the carting company and it'll say the days of trash picked up for regular trash and for recycling. Third reason is, unfortunately, it's your neighbors. Some of our neighbors are not disposing of their trash properly.
Yes. Hallelujah.
So some of the neighbors are not, they're not disposing of their trash, but they're putting it out too early, or they'll put it after the trash got picked up and then leave it there for 2 days, so that's another reason. Another issue, but you guys don't have that issue, those blocks that are on where the trains run, like Lafayette. That's like our number one problem, Lafayette, Bedford, Nostrand, because they're right on top of a train station. And the trains have a lot of rats down there. Another reason, some of the schools. Schools are not disposing of their trash properly. They're putting it out too soon, or not disposing of it properly. So,
Is there a plan?
So, like I said, the plan was before the pandemic hit, they would come out, Department of Health. I would do inspections with the Department of Health. Well, I didn't do the inspections. They did the inspection. I came out with them to make sure residents were not getting fined. So I would set up walks with the Department of Health. They would come out. They would search this. They would look at people's front yards. Because a lot of times you got a front yard with a lot of foliage, a lot of high plants and everything. The rats can hide in there. They'll look for rat burrows. They'll look for droppings and everything. If we see one in front of somebody's house, like I've gone to houses, literally went to a house. The rat froze, trying to dig in. You saw the tail sticking out in the front yard, trying to get into that garden area, like that. So I've seen that. So, well, I do the walks with them so that the residents don't get fined. We'll give them time to deal with the situation and the problem. So they'll walk up and down the block and look to see what's causing the problem. Oh, another problem: empty lots. That also leads to rat problem. A lot of empty lots that have not been taken care of. Rats hang out in there. They come out at night. You're gonna put the trash out. You got the trash in the bag and not in the garbage can. And a rat can bite through just about anything. They can go through metal. Not at that moment, but they'll keep chewing and chewing and chewing. And eventually, they'll get through. So those are the combination of what's causing the problem, how to deal with it. You do the inspections, but right now, because of COVID, they're not coming out right now. They're not coming out right now at this time. We did what we call the rat academies, where they'll come to Block Associate and they will show the videos of what you can do to deal with rat issues, and they will bring the garbage cans. Those you might have seen those silver, those gray garbage cans that's supposed to be hard for the rats to chew through, and they'll give those out to the Block Associations, those who participate in the rat academy. So if it's happening now, you can call 301 about it. Let me know, because if they do come out, even though they're not coming out right now, I want to make sure like no one gets a fine. Because when they come out, you may call for a certain area, address, but they're gonna do the whole block. I mean, they do the whole block, and I said they see rat burrows or droppings. They're not gonna get fined. Then they're gonna get the warning.
Yeah.
They'll get a warning.
Yeah, we got fined.
They got a warning.
Y'all got
You got a
fined.
fine? I got a warning.
You got a warning. Yeah, the warnings usually come first. The warning's supposed to come first before the fine. So, but that's what I'm saying. Let me know, so then I will let them know. You go on this block, if they're trying to deal with the problem, just let us know what the issues are. We'll let them know. They'll resolve it. Don't go up there giving people fines and
But
everything.
it's not really fair because if they say them get a fine, they were not the one that causing it. They were
Right.
not
No, I
the one
know.
that
I know.
outside.
And
I
if
know.
you fined me for
That's what I'm
something
saying.
that was nothing on the ground,
That's
it
what
was
I'm
like the
saying.
side of my steps up to the top, so it was.
Right, and what you could have done, if you could have reached out to my office, we might have been able to, have been able to get the fine dismissed. Might.
Okay.
So question for you. So one of the things we talked about was bad neighbors. There's a couple neighbors that they come in and they do what they do, and they don't live there, so
They don't live there.
their resolve isn't that great for dealing with the place. There's piles of garbage all the time. They get fined all the time.
They own the property.
Yes.
Oh, so you have
Fined all the time.
that's a problem too.
They get fined all the time, but the fine, I don't know if they just write them off, but it's like it's a revolving door.
So what I need you to do on that situation, I'll give you my card, shoot me an email about what house we're talking about, and I can ask the Department of Health, what's the situation, have they been fined, have they been paying the fine, and try to keep the pressure on that particular house.
I can show you piles of garbage.
Right.
I'm talking feed and drown.
No, I understand. So we can get Department of Health and we can get Department of Sanitation,
Yeah.
but it's getting fined from both.
I know
So,
sanitation fined them multiple times.
so we'll talk offline about that.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
Okay.
Can I ask one more question?
Yes.
And I forgot to thank you for coming.
Oh, no
Appreciate
problem.
it.
No problem.
Yeah, thank you.
To get trees and tree planters, I made an application and it got rejected. I don't think for like bona fide reasons. Would your office
To
handle
get,
that?
you requested trees on the block.
Yeah, and empty, like one of these.
Oh, tree guards.
No,
Not
the tree.
guards, just
the-
to get a tree.
You get a tree.
Our
the
tree
tree.
fell down.
Right.
The tree, yeah. So he wants to
Through the
replace.
You want a
and I
tree
wanted
replaced.
Replace the tree. You wanna
They got
replace the tree.
rejected by the city, and I don't know what the best way to try to sort of appeal.
Did
or
they
deal
tell
with
you
that.
why it was rejected?
They said it was too close to a light pole, but I don't think it was based on I don't think anyone
So
measured.
I'm not right. Because usually the city's good at putting in trees.
Yeah.
They want to
Yeah.
do trees. So
I
if
don't
they
think they
reject,
measured.
I don't know if they measured or not. I'm not,
But the tree was
I'm not
there.
a specialist, but if
There-
that's the
there
reason,
was a
because if they
was
won't put
there.
a tree in, if it's too close to a light pole, too close to a hydrant, or the gas line. Like I know they won't put a tree in.
But a tree was there. The tree just
There
Tree
was
was
a
there.
Yeah.
there was a tree, yeah, but
Trees.
things
So,
have
Did your
changed.
office handle?
Well, I would
trying
reach
to
out.
get it
I would
resolved?
reach out to them and try to get a
Second
more
motion.
explanation. About like the measurements and what was the issue because the tree was previously there.
Yeah.
So that's your argument. The tree was previously there.
It was very
Why would we
recent.
put trees in this situation? Why would we put a tree that has roots that are going to grow?
So the newer trees that they do, that the city puts in now, the roots don't. It's not. What is one of them old time like that? It's not. It wouldn't be a tree like that or that. These are like the real old trees. They put in the smaller trees where the roots are not going to grow and bring. I know what you're saying. Going to bring up the sidewalks.
Yeah.
And everything. They don't put those sort of trees in. They put the smaller trees
So there's
in.
no tragedies with these trees so far?
When you say tragedy, meaning
Meaning the falling of the trees?
No, we haven't had
Only
that.
the real ones are falling.
Well, it takes like 50.
Only the real old trees.
the old one. If you notice a tree that falls in Bed-Stuy, it's usually one of those old
Yeah,
big trees.
it's like 60 years old, it's 100 years
More
old.
than
Yeah,
that, 100
yeah,
years.
yeah.
But
I
none of
saw
the
'em
new ones, no.
Nothing.
on
The
Mc,
city will monitor the first couple of years because some have died. I don't know why, but some have died. Then they'll take it out. So the city monitors that tree that they plant for the first couple of years. When I say the city Department of Parks, they will monitor that tree, but they don't put the ones that's going to grow big like that. They don't put those in.
This project right here, that's done privately or by the community?
That's private. This is yours, right?
yeah,
That's ours.
yeah. No comment on that.
Just this.
It's
Can I? A related question to the subways. Do you know the history, like the 2-second history of the G line? Why there's stations that are completely
I know it very
closed?
well because I grew up in Tompkins, so that was my train stop, Myrtle and Willoughby. And that stop has been closed since I was in second grade, so that's about 1975. That stop has been closed.
Oh, I'm
so
losing battery.
the history of that, those who are my age and older.